Well, the latest injury report is out for the Bombers as well as the other 17 teams. We're going to talk about that as well as some other Bomber news that has cropped up in the last 24 hours right now. So first things first, Nate Caddy has picked up the Rising Star nomination this round. He also got a Rising Star nomination last year, but because he's under the games threshold, he didn't play enough games last year to make him ineligible to win it this year. He can still win it this year. He played less than the 10 games last year. And he has picked up his second nomination in 2 years. He had 16 disposals, 6 inside 50s, 3 marks, and he kicked 3 goals, which was the most he's ever kicked in a game. So he joins Archie Roberts as Essendon's Rising Stars this year. Hopefully there'll be another couple to add to that as we go forward. So congratulations, Nate Caddy, Rising Star nomination for this week. I thought this was a little bit interesting. Kane Cornes had a few things to say about Essendon. He thinks we're on the right track and he's quote unquote all in on the Bombers. I, and like most of the people who are listening to my channel, I think we're all a little more cautious about Essendon's prospects than people in the media who often talk us up when we have a few wins, and we've seen this in past years. And I think it's because we're so emotionally invested, and the people in the media who don't barrack for Essendon are not necessarily emotionally invested. But nevertheless, Kane Cornes is probably the most prominent media person because he's being paid $1 squillion, so you can take it for what you will. Here is what he had to say.
Yeah, I'm all in on Essendon. Not so much for this year, but for the next 2-3 years after this. I think they're the next Hawthorn in terms of their build. So love the stability. The coach is very good. The captain is very, very good. They're both locked in long term. The key personnel from a playing point of view that they have identified, you've got an elite key forward in Caddy. He's a freak, like an athletic freak, competitive, 19 years of age, would you believe, second season. Kako's an elite small forward, not yet, but will be. 2 midfield bulls in Durham and Coldwell, so you love the defensive inspirational acts that they provide. They're guns to go with merit. You've got Reid, who now is starting to emerge as a 200-centimetre intercepting defender who looks rock solid, and Martin is an elite half-back. You've got those bases covered. You've got draft capital, pick 4 from Melbourne at the moment, your own pick 11 in the first round. You've got so much salary cap room, and I've just loved their performance this year. I don't expect them to make finals. There's going to be ups and downs, and often the Bombers start well and then fade out. But with their injured personnel that they've got out of the side, to beat Port Adelaide prelim finalists last year, to beat Sydney grand finalists last year with the challenges that they've had, and they're in the 8 before the games today, I think it's been a remarkable performance. And then the age demographic of their list, like 4th youngest in the competition, I would be buying Essendon stock right now. And if I was weighing up a player who was looking for a big contract offer, I think that'd be a pretty exciting team to join.
So there you go. You can interpret that however you like. I'm just reporting it because, people talking about Essendon in the media creates news, and you can have whatever opinion you like on Kane or whatever he had to say. But I thought it was noteworthy that it was being said, whether you agree with it or not. So going on to the injury report for the Bombers, Darcy Parish is probably the big news here because he's not on the injury report for the first time all year. So he is ready to resume. Unfortunately, wouldn't you believe it, we don't have a VFL game this week. So the VFL has a bye. So he won't be able to play in the VFL. So I don't know what they're going to do with Parish in that sense. I think they want to play him for at least 2 games in the VFL before he comes back. I've always said that Parish is kind of slow to get going and he's at his best maybe his 3rd game back. That's kind of the way he is. He tends to build into his season. He's never, excellent on his first game in. So I think he probably needs a couple of games in the reserve. So unfortunately it can't be this week. But they're saying that they're going to give him a full-on hard training session this week, which I think is good. That's what he needs. So he's over his calf injury, over his back injury. Depending on how he goes in the training this week, they might then play him in the reserves next week and they might think that'll be enough and then bring him in after that for the game against the Brisbane Lions. But, we'll just wait and see. Jade Gresham is still a week away. He was 1 week last week. He's 1 week this week, so he hasn't progressed. He's still recovering from his abductor strain, but he should be right to resume if selected. And he's no guarantee to be selected against Richmond in the Dreamtime game on Friday night in a fortnight from now. In the VFL, Jaden Nguyen has got a bone stress injury, and we're not quite sure how long that's going to keep him out for. He's been doing pretty well in the VFL for anyone who's been keeping track of that. Whilst his numbers haven't necessarily been great, he's really been given a job in the back line to sort of lock down on the opposition, one of the opposition's small forwards, okay? Think of the role that maybe, say, Andrew McGrath did on Anzac Day. That's sort of what Jaden Nguyen has been doing in the VFL. He's been progressing, but he won't be playing for a little while. His return date is to be confirmed. Lewis Hayes, as we know, unfortunately has confirmed that he's done his ACL. And as has Tom Edwards, Nick Bryan, and of course Sam Draper, season-ending injury with the Achilles. So, and of course Harrison Jones, as we know, still to be confirmed with the ankle injury. And Jordan Ridley, 7 weeks away with the hamstring injury. So it's kind of mixed news. We have long-term injuries to lots of key players, but we have been able to cover those players. They are in positions that we are able to have, that we do have depth in, let's be honest. So, where Draper and Bryan are out of the side, we've been able to basically replace them with Goldstein and Wright. And Wright, let's face it, was in the outer before the season started, and he's now basically part of that sort of forward ruck combo duo. So it's not too much of a downgrade if you look at it that way. The loss of Hayes is a blow because he was directly replacing Ridley, but to be fair, Laverty's been in reasonable form, whether you like him or not, and he will most likely come into the side this week. But the big news out of all of this really is Darcy Parish basically is ready to resume. So he could come in this week. I don't think he will. It doesn't seem that that's Brad Scott's style to, bring him straight back in. But there's nothing preventing that now. He's not injured. But I would suggest he would probably have the hard training session, have a game in the VFL next week, and then possibly come in the week after. That would be my prediction. So that is the latest injury news for the Bombers. What do you think? Do you have any other comments about Essendon in the media? Anything that I've missed that you'd like to talk about? Let me know. Subscribe to this channel. Hit like if you like this video. And it doesn't cost any money. And it only takes 1 second to do so. There's still about 75% of you unsubscribed. So I'd love to get that subscriber count up even further. Have a great day, everybody. And as always, go Bombers.